The journey to improve the terms and conditions of service and other reforms of the National Police and Kenya Prison Services continued in earnest after the National Police and Prison Reform Task Force, led by the former Chief Justice David Maraga, held its sitting in Kisumu County. Addressing the plenary at the Mama Grace Onyango Social Hall in Kisumu City, the retired Chief Justice outlined the objectives of the task force, which delineated to include identifying the constraints to effective service delivery by the two disciplined services, as well as reviewing with a view to recommend improvement of their terms of service.
There's issues of logistical challenges that they are facing. And those challenges, of course, the views will come from the public. The public have their own views about how they see those challenges. You are the consumers of their services. At times, they are not serving you as you would like. We want to hear that. At times, they are not treating you as well as you want. We want to hear that. And of course, take views to the appointing authority, who is the president. One other thing we are required to do is to look at their facilities, their premises. Like this morning, we have spent most of the time going around in the Kodiaga prison and looking at the residential premises of the prison officers. As soon as we finish from here, we are going to meet the police. They will take us to their places of residence. We will see 1 or 2 police stations and see the kind of facilities they have and the challenges they are meeting.
The public forum was well attended by the members of the public, members of the civil society, the business community, and opinion leaders drawn from across various sectors who shared their views with the task force. Some spouses of the police officers present couldn't hold their emotions in tears while narrating the horrible situations they faced due to poor working conditions of their spouses.
Nipeana example kama Kondele, nimeona mlemavu maybe amekaa kwa desk, ni askari anasavu watu. So ninaomba sana kama kuna maskari maybe wameumia wakiwa on duty, washughulikiwe sana, kwa sababu these people mentally wako na shida, wanajiuliza maswali mengi sana. Hii ulemavu nilipata nikiwa on duty, na government ya Kenya inafanya nini ku make sure hata familia yangu iko safe, na mimi mwenyewe bado ninapata kitu chenye nafanya, ile heshima pia ya kuwa askari kwa ndani mwangu. Hiyo ni neno la kwanza nitazungumzia, na pia nasimama hapa, mimi ni bibi wa askari, mimi personally, na ninaona maskari wanapitia so many challenges. Hata mkisema watu maybe wanajiua, mtu anafika kwa nyumba, ameenda mahali maybe kuna mwili umeoza mahali fulani, amepigiwa simu, enda hata ni saa ngapi za usiku, na maybe hako on duty, anaenda hana hata gloves za kwenda maybe kuhold hiyo mwili, alafu making matter worse, maybe Land Cruiser amekaa nyuma na hiyo mwili. Huyo mtu akirudi kwa nyumba, mimi kama bibi yake, hizo stress zote ako nazo, atakuja at the end of the day kunimalizia kwa nyumba, kwa sababu ameona hizo vitu, na pia maybe ako na shida ya finance. So unapata ni challenge kubwa sana. So tukisema ya kwamba tunashughulikia masilahi ya maskari, hizo vitu pia tushughulikie. Nashukuru sana.
Watoto, huwezi ishi na mtoto yako kwa njia mzuri, huwezi kukaa. Kwa ile reform, mimi nataka kwa hii task force, at least polisi wajengewe nyumba. Wasiwe wanatoka nje, rent nyumba nje, wajengewe nyumba na wakae kama staff. Mtu kama anafanya kazi na hawezi kuishi hata na bibi yake, kama anaenda transfer itabidi bibi aende nyumbani. Mali unaishi pia haikai mzuri. So ningependelea kwa hii task force, polisi wajengewe nyumba na polisi wanunuliwe hasi ya kuwasafirisha nyumbani. Wakati mwingine unapata kama hiyo pesa ya polisi inatolewa haitoki kwa on time, lakini mimi ningependelea wanunuliwe hasi, wakuwe na mahali pa kuishi pazuri. Asanteni.
The business community led by the Matatu owners and SACCOs proposed the establishment of proper conflict of interest policies to cushion the trade from uneven enforcement of traffic rules, where Matatus owned by officers are held to different and more lenient enforcement practices, thereby granting them an unfair competitive advantage.
Thank you so much. I'm Omondi Obuya, a Vice Chairman, Matatu Welfare Group within the bus park. I'm here to give my views to the task force that was formed by the President to look into the welfare of the police officers within the country. One, on behalf of the Matatu sector, I would wish to recommend that the time duration that they always give for the training of the police officers to be reviewed. And actually, I would suggest they go for 2 good years, and that will be more sufficient for them to get to know more about how to handle the public. Again, I would also recommend that the traffic officers to be given special training so that they get to know how to handle the traffic issues. On the same note, we are being subjected to unnecessary competition by the police officers who are also involved in the business of the Matatu, and being that they are the supervisors of the same, you would find that their vehicles are not compliant and they are just working against what we are also doing, and you'd find that they will take advantage of arresting our vehicles and leaving them to do the business. That is unnecessary competition that should not be allowed. On the same note, as others have also recommended to review the issue of the uniform, I would suggest that while reviewing the issue of the uniform, I would recommend that the traffic officers to be given pocketless uniform. This will help us in terms of the corruption.
Among the pertinent issues discussed were the improvement of police and prisons officers' welfare and working conditions. The Kenya National Human Rights Commission, Nyanza Regional Coordinator Jacqueline Ingutia, called for the improvement of working conditions of the police and prisons officers so as to enhance service delivery. Ms. Ingutia cited the demoralization caused by the tough conditions that the law enforcers are forced to endure. She reiterated that despite the government officers, like any other, the officers are not accorded all the rights extended to government employees.
I'm the Regional Coordinator, Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, which is a constitutional commission, and we are happy that the task force, through the leadership of the retired Chief Justice, thought it wise to come to Kisumu to get views from the public and other stakeholders. So as a commission, we begin with the premise that police officers are government employees, thus their labor and employment relation rights must be respected. Among the issues we have highlighted is the working conditions of police officers. We do understand they work in very tight situation. A number of them don't have necessary equipment. A number of them, if you visit the police stations, stationery is lacking, furniture is lacking. So at the end of the day, the members of the public tend to blame the police for failing to perform their duties. We've also seen increased cases of police shooting among themselves, their spouses. That tells us that the working condition is not right. So we have made a recommendation that we need to ensure psychosocial support is presented at the station level, not at the high level as is now. Issues of housing, the practice has been police officers don't have enough houses, and those that are available are not in very good conditions. We see some living in those colonial houses, the tin houses. And if you visit again prisons, our prisons are not, they don't have current buildings. So the task force is not just reviewing police officers' terms and conditions of service, but also the prison's terms and conditions of service. So the moment we realize that prison officers and police officers are workers, and once they are motivated to do their work, we'll have better service delivery from this unit.
Her sentiments were echoed by Kisumu-based human rights activist Audi Ogada, who called for the increment of police and prisons officers' salaries to tame the rampant corruption and other forms of crime in the service.
Audi Ogada is a human rights defender. I'm also the chair of Kisumu City Resident Voice. The question of insecurity in relationship to the task force, areas that can be improved so that police can be effective and efficient in ensuring that citizens and their property are protected, because that is their common day. I think it is in order, it is timely, and I believe that there are a lot of areas that the task force need to look into. We have talked about areas of welfare. Yes, there is no way we can have officers that are living in makeshift. In fact, if you visit some of our station and police posts, like in Nyangeta, you will be shocked to see a kind of a house a police officer is living. If you go to Barbi, if you walk around in several others, then those are areas that we must improve for our police officers to give services that is required of them. The issue of salaries, the new recruit, when police are doing recruitment today, the basic salary, the starting salary is 18,000. If you look at that, I think that is very, very insufficient, and we are appealing to the Justice Maraga to ensure that the salaries of officers should be taken care of with his team. So we need at least minimum, which is very minimal still, but you compare it to 18,000, I think. So we need at least a minimum of 40,000 to new recruits. And then upscale. We are also looking at areas of medical. Most officers cannot go to some hospitals. In fact, most majority of officers who are lower rank cannot go to Aga Khan even when they have been attacked or been shot by militia or gangs. So those are areas that I think are discriminatory in nature, and those are areas that we are appealing to the task force to ensure that they are improved. We are also looking at areas where there is a lot of police officers, yet they are doing minimal instead of most officers, like in traffic, for example. We want officers, many officers that are actually seconded in traffic, to be removed so that they come and ensure and join their brothers, so that we reduce these bloated roadblocks in our station, so that they come and join the rest of the country. Those are areas that we are saying that we need to improve. We also need to improve the areas of relationship between the public and the police. A lot of hostility, time and again, issues of hostility when you visit the police, and you can even see in this forum. So those are areas that we need to improve with this task force.
Proposals were made for the establishment of special facilities for expectant and lactating inmates at all police and correctional facilities.
The other unborn person who is within the mother's body. I think let us consider such issues, because we really want to put a human face in the police service. I've visited the prisons many times, going to support mothers with newborn babies, and you look at the situation where they are, and even the care given to the newborn baby. Would your team consider that when it reaches a time when a mother is expecting a baby, that should be used as a way of helping her case, or maybe isolating her to receive special treatment in one way or the other?
On their part, the Maraga team, which had visited various police stations and prisons, lauded the attendees for their free and open dialogue and promised that all views collected will be taken into account when the team retreats to give the final report and recommendations.
With the session we have had with the members of the public, they have given us their views very, very freely. The challenges that are there when the police are serving them. And majorly, they actually are talking about the police welfare. They are talking about the police being facilitated to be able to perform their duties well. So, which is very, very impressive. And quite a number of issues that come that sometimes we don't, we forget. Like one thing which has struck me is about wananchi who are dumb and deaf. Sometimes we don't remember to facilitate them when they want to make a complaint to the police, when they have been offended and they want to be to be served by the police. So those are among the issues. That's why this kind of participation is extremely important. They bring perspectives that somebody in a novice you can sometimes ignore and think it is not important, but they are very, very important.
Do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm Cindy Kavuchi.